Hello and welcome to the Breakdown, the podcast covering all things Supporters Gaming League. I'm your host, Debit, and I'm joined by my co-host, Sean. How are you doing, sir?
As always, I'm wonderful. We are recording the day after, or the day that a tropical storm decided to hit the Houston area, Texas area, right around where I live. So I did not get a lot of sleep last night, I'll be totally honest. Literally from like 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. I've had nonstop like flickering of power every 30 minutes or so. Never quite get into full sleep before it would cut back off, and then I'd be like, oh crap, and then I'd have to. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a little tired. We'll see. We'll see. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Cannot complain. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about coming up. Pretty action-filled weekend, and a couple things that we really need to, reiterate. A couple interesting things, especially going and seeing those standings after week 4, after the break and everything. So yeah, we're gonna jump in SGL 1 real soon. Be right back. Back, let's talk all things SGL League 1 this time around. And after an action-packed stream and an off-stream match, start talking about our highlights of the week. Not gonna try to cut you off or anything, but I'm gonna take a lead on this one, just because you all didn't see it. It was off-stream. Liberacy Locos could not play Friday night, so Steel Army and the gang decided to reschedule for Sunday evening. And it turns out Steel Army actually 3-0'd Liberacy Locos, causing a massive standings, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of interesting action in Group A now, now that Steel Army decided to 3-0 Liberace.
Yeah, when I saw the final of that one, I didn't get to watch, obviously, because it was an off-stream matchup. But, man, when I saw the final tally on that one, the 3-0, I kind of had to take a step back, because this is not, no offense to you guys in Steel Army, but that was not what I foresaw. But on the flip side, that has, and you insinuated it, that has created a hell of a logjam in Group A in SGL 1 action. With Southmost right there beneath you guys, then Liberacy Locos, and who's the other one that I can't think of off the top of my head that's right there? Is it ESR?
No, at the
ESR
bottom.
At the bottom. Who's the other team? I can't
Dark
think
Clouds?
Of? Dark Clouds. You're only a few points away from Dark Clouds, right?
Yeah, we're not too far behind. I'm pretty sure if my calculations are correct, they should be at 8 now, right? So
yeah, I believe that's where they are.
We're still at a series difference between them.
I mean, 2 weeks left to go. You never know what can happen. But my highlight, I think, of the week, for me in particular, honestly, was how well Southmost stepped up and played against La Cinco Doce. And it's no discredit to La Cinco Doce for it being close matches or anything like that. But Southmost genuinely stepped up. I've asked for it week after week. Come on, Chris. Come on, Ruben. Come on, everybody else on Southmost. I need you guys to show me what I know you're capable of. Just like you guys at Steel Army, it's like it only took me 3 weeks to finally get through your heads. You could do this. Okay, 5 weeks if you count the 2 weeks we had off. But, I know how good Southmost, or I don't know how good Southmost can be, but I know how I know at least the minimum good that they should be able to be, and what they've shown has not been nearly where they should be. And I feel like Friday night's matchup against La Cinco Doce was them hitting that stride. They were finding their marks, not in the first match necessarily, but that second and that third match, holding it down to just a 1-goal difference, and then that overtime. Oh my God, that overtime! It was great to see, and I feel like Southmost now coming out of that matchup, they've got a lot of extra momentum that they didn't have before, and I think the same is true for you guys, of course, as well at Steel Army. But that has to be my moment. Was just, really just watching the team up from all of them in Southmost just suddenly finding that pressure point, finding that groove. That you just kind of get into, and then all of a sudden things start clicking, and they were in that groove together. And boy, La Cinco Doce were sweating that last one. It sure felt like.
Oh, it absolutely did, and I absolutely agree. Watching them play, it seems like we're actually seeing oh gosh, this is Southmost at near their peak. And they did it against a Masta side in Cinco Doce as well, seeing Masta for the first time this season. So that was super impressive to see it. Even though they did not get the result they wanted, it's scary whenever Southmost are on, because then you really have to be on your game just to literally not fall behind them.
Yeah, Southmost, we've talked about it, the first show that we had. I feel like that Southmost style of aggression and demo and bump and, and kind of the physical game, let's call it the physical game, there's a place for it, but I think at the same time it can't be all that you rely on as a team. It can't be your only strategy going in. And Southmost, they have other things that they do. Quick kickoffs, because Chris is just king of that, and we all know it. They do other things well as well. They try to boost starve you when they can. They're good with their rotations, all of these other little things. But it felt like in these first few weeks of the season, and, this was week 4, all the way up until this week, so the first 3 weeks of the season, I felt like Southmost were playing more to the bully technique and bully tactic than they were trying to hone in on the things that are maybe not their best qualities, but at the same time things that they need in SGL1 play to keep pace with the rest of the league, especially with how far the rest of the league has come.
Absolutely true. Sometimes you have to game plan differently for each team, and I know from firsthand experience, Cinco Doce, if you cannot break their rotation and the way they pass between each other, you're not gonna have a fun time. Your backboard's gonna get abused, and better watch out in front of net. But yeah, I think Southmost did as much as they possibly could, and they were so close to pulling out one game in that one.
So I obviously we don't want to start just talking about just a single matchup.
For sure.
So if you're ready, I'd love to break down the matches from this week. Not break them down, but I'd love to just quickly hit on each of the matches and say just a couple of things about each match that caught our attention. And the only reason I want to do that is because there's a couple of major ones that I think need to be called out. So obviously the first match of the week was Libres y Locos versus Steel Army. That actually technically is the 6th match of the week, as you guys didn't play until yesterday. But obviously from that, I'm coming out of that immediately. The first thing I saw, like I said, we already talked about it, is holy crap, you guys 3-0'd Libres y Locos. Now, to their credit, they didn't have Super, best player on the team, no question. But you still 3-0'd them. You still 3-0'd them, and that is something that is, something you guys can definitely build on, and something that they need to take a hard look at and kind of correct whatever mistakes that were there. And as I understand it, again, you have to kind of fill us in because we weren't there. I wasn't there. But how did they look to you playing against them?
Honestly, they still were about as solid as ever. I think the only thing that might have been potentially missing was Super got very mechanical. And that's where you could probably see a little bit of confusion amongst Steel Army members, especially whenever it comes to the back wall. But I think not having that, I think probably the game plan was a little bit more simplified, and we just knew we had to stick to clean rotations and not trying to overcommit. And granted, Libre still did really good what they do against us, and that's basically stifling whatever plays we can, because sometimes we'd have a lot of passing plays go through, but they were just stopping them. It was hard to get stuff on them. We actually pulled out a couple overtime wins on them as well, and one was actually at 0 seconds. We really had to work for our wins over there.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's move on to I'm going to just go based off the fixture list. I realize this is not the way that it went on Friday because I don't have Friday's list in front of me, so we're just going to go off the fixture list. Mint City Collective versus Louisville Sluggers. Louisville Sluggers, hey, new team. Louisville Coopers. I told you I was tired. Mint City Collective versus Louisville Coopers. Obviously, the number one thing we saw there, in my opinion, and I don't think you're going to argue this, is that Louisville Coopers once again showing that they are a team to be feared in SGL1 play. They are that second tier, I think, of teams that kind of, in terms of you have your top SGL1 elite teams, and then you have that kind of second tier where everybody's kind of duking it out and fighting it out. And I think that's where Louisville Coopers kind of slots in that second tier.
I'd absolutely have to agree with you. And I think, honestly, this team is super solid going forward into the season. I can't imagine them being any lower than probably like 4th in the entire league once this playoff bracket ends. And I think they just kept dominating against Mid-City. They just kept going back to what they're used to doing, just like they are in the USL.
USL Championship shout out. Let's go. So then obviously the next one would be ESR versus Dark Clouds. That match happened, right? Question mark. No, it did. I watched it. I watched the first match of that. That's a heartbreaker for me because Broadster was obviously having trouble with his internet. And ESR, to even begin with, didn't even have more than the 2 players that were available, which Broadster was one of them. And we know how good ESR could be. We've seen it. And this was, I think, an opportunity that they could have caught Dark Clouds a little bit unexpectedly. But just scheduling and everything else caught up to them a little bit. It kind of obviously Dark Clouds. I think that ended up being a forfeit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it had to be at that point.
There were other things going on in the background, but it was just it was rough watching ESR basically playing with 1.25 players, and that's not a discredit to Broadster, but when you're dealing with latency, we've all dealt with it like that, where you can get into the match, but you can't even do anything. He couldn't even get into the match. So he was he wasn't even really there. So it was 3v1. And, it was at that point, much like it was just a few weeks ago when it was the Surge versus Viking Army, and they only had one player. It might not have been Viking Army. I don't remember who it was. But
I think it was. But
Viking Army. They only had one player, and, it just ended up getting called after. No, it wasn't Viking Army. It was somebody else. It got called right away because they just didn't have enough players to field, and at that point, the quality of the content is significantly lower. But looking at that, just in your general opinion, ESR versus Dark Clouds, any thoughts on that one in particular, very quickly?
Honestly, I just wish they had 3 players. I want to see how Justin lined up against the Dark Clouds Ringers. I really wanted to see that matchup, and unfortunately, it was not going to happen.
Fates are holding that one until the playoffs. No, just kidding. ESR probably not making the playoffs. But hey, all credit to them. They're still pushing through. Here's to hoping we get to see them next week versus where are they playing? Oh, that's right. First match of the night in Southmost on Friday. So moving on from that matchup, we then had Cauldron KC versus Mad Hat Massive. This was my match that I was most interested in watching this week. And honestly, it did not disappoint. I thought Mad Hat Massive brought everything they could bring, and they had, in my opinion, there were moments that they had kind of the KC Cauldron just not looking as good as they've looked prior. But at the same time, Cauldron, pulled it out. I think that was a 3-0, if I'm not mistaken. Mad Hat Massive had plenty of chances. They even were up, I think, 2 goals, if I remember correctly, in one match. But KC Cauldron just stayed calm and did what they do.
I think it was just a testament to how both teams do really well at what they do. Mad Hat, they will go up against anybody and make a matchup probably more difficult than it has to be. But then also, you have the other side in the Cauldron. They just get stuff done. That team it's just hard to beat because they're just all in sync. No matter how much you can accuse Monk, he's going to show up on game day.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an understatement. We all keep kind of dragging him a little bit about the open goal thing because that's kind of the joke, but it's no longer a joke. I mean, he is hitting open nets like they're just, like they're 50 feet wide. I mean, he's just everywhere, and it's crazy, and it's great to see because when I was playing with him in SGLCS, it was not that way. So, great to see that. Definite improvement from him, and all the more power to KC Cauldron moving forward, and watch out other teams because they're going to be a force to be reckoned with coming out of that other group. That brings us to La Cinco Doce versus Southmost. We've already talked about that one just a little bit. But again, huge shout out to Southmost. Even though they didn't come away with any of the points, they showed themselves very well against a very geeked, very good La Cinco Doce team. Any other thoughts about that one before we move on to the Roadies versus Los Verdes?
Quick shout outs to Dominus Death, switching up cars for the first time in League this season, if I recall correctly.
I think I saw him. Yeah, I think that was accidental. I don't think he intended to play with the Dominus in that match, actually.
Oh my gosh.
But you kind of get into the match, and at that point, well, I'm already in it. I might as well just stick with it. But yeah, he was all over the place as well, and just playing so very, very well in that match. Well, that obviously brings us to Roadies versus looking at next week. That brings us to Roadies versus Los Verdes. I can do this. Roadies versus Los Verdes. Okay, so there's one thing I gotta shout out and I gotta call out. So after the Roadies match was over, we all, Nestor did a raid into Pandy's stream, and we were watching Pandy stream, and it was Pandy playing 1v1 versus Palm Tree. They used we now call it the Pandy Special mutators, which is basically like super pinball crazy boost mode with a civilized rumble. So that you can get the ball going as fast and as far as you can. But watching the two of them play, I'm coming back, there's coming around full circle. But watching the two of them play, it was really interesting because I think I got a better feel of what their comms are like. And it's just so much craziness, but like, because they know how good they are.
I think it's a testament to how much they understand each other's playstyle as well. They're just that confident where it's like, yeah, we could talk about anything. Yeah, I already know your right side. What do you want to talk about?
And I do want to give a quick shout out to Husky Aardvark out of Los Verdes and his guys over there. I thought going against the team that is clearly right now the best team in SGL, and again, I'm calling out, Lacinco Dose, you're going to get your opportunity, but until then, Roadie's best team in SGL won, and I guess you would say SGL overall. But with that said, Los Verdes, I thought, showed themselves pretty well. Obviously, Roadies were going to roll, but Husky Aardvark got himself a couple of goals in there, at a few different opportunities, and again to play the way that they were playing, and this was very much like the Southmost versus Lacinco. Two very good teams that each of these other teams are facing. Not expected to get anything out of it, but they were playing up to the level they needed to play at, and holding their own. Maybe not nearly as well as Southmost did, but definitely showing that they belong in SGL1, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Los Verdes, they're trouble. You think you have something, but then they just play defense on you, and all of a sudden you're in transition. Maybe get scored on an open net. Can't underestimate them.
Yeah, and SGL1 in that group, it's tight. That group's not tight. That group is very widespread. Just in general. But it is good to see the teams towards the bottom, with the exception of one or two teams this week. But the teams towards the bottom step up and play much better than they have the rest of the season. There's still 2 weeks left in the season, so it's not like they're out of playoff contention. It's just they've built themselves this huge hill and huge mountain they've got to climb to get back into playoffs. Not that you don't know anything about that, of course.
No, we've that was literally our role last season. We were in 10th for probably a solid 6 or 7 weeks, and then weeks 7, 8, 9 bumped ourselves up to 8th. Squeaked in out of nowhere.
So looking ahead to next week, we've got ESR versus Southmost to lead it off. Hopefully Broadster has his internet issues resolved. Hopefully they've got Tyler and Justin ready to roll as well, because I'd love to see them going against Southmost, although to be honest, Southmost bully style to me probably favors Southmost in this one. But boy, I could see this going. I could see ESR pulling something out of the hat type of thing and leaving Southmost just feeling like, oh no. I don't know about you, though.
Man, already going to next week. Man, how I wish I could see the ESR in the playoffs of last season of Justin, Sporty, and Tyler. I really need to see that lineup back, but if we're going to see the usual 3 I've seen this season, man, Southmost, the ESR is going to have a hard time trying to create those passing plays.
They are, like you said, especially if they don't have, especially if they don't have that top 3, which we know one of them in particular, Sporty, is not available this season really at all. It's gonna be tough, but and we've seen it. They've played well for the most part when they've been able to play, but boy, there's definitely a difference in quality there. So moving on to the second matchup, we're not going to do predictions yet. We'll do that in a minute. Second matchup, Mint City Collective versus Los Verdes.
I really don't know. That's literally a wild card. I could see anything happening because Pata's mechanics, Verdes' defense, could be anything.
Yeah, looking ahead at that matchup, I think the key true kind of matchup there, like you said, it's Pata's capabilities going forward, Los Verdes' capabilities to hit on the counter, and then it's can the supporting cast for Pata, can they step up and play well enough to keep Los Verdes at a goal? And I honestly, looking at it, I don't think so. We'll find out here in a minute when we predict, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that's probably going. It's hard to call, but I think that looking at it on paper, I think I would have to give it to Los Verdes. They're the better overall team. Mint City Collective have the better overall singular player. And he would probably argue that if he ever saw this. So next matchup, KC versus Louisville Coopers. I am so ready for this matchup.
Yeah, calling it. Don't even care. Matchup of the week. You know why? One person in particular, Laurencio. The homecoming, formerly of the Cauldron.
How many demos does Lore suffer in this match?
At least 6. wait, no, in the whole thing, at least 15.
Yeah, so basically average of 5 per.
Yeah, at least. I'm thinking that. Especially if Beersikens is out, at least 20.
That's fair.
But yeah, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that matchup. Those are two teams that I feel like they're about the same. I mean, I know Cauldron probably aren't as mechanical in some aspects as Louisville, but both teams are just so solid in their own outright that this is a split series. I mean, somebody's got to be the victor, but I think it's split.
I think this is going to be a tight series, and you kind of hit it, you danced around it, but here's what both teams bring to the table. They're both very good teams. I just mentioned about the singular player, having the better singular player. Doesn't necessarily matter. If you've got the better team, and both of these teams have incredibly talented players, but then on top of that, they also bring it in by having very good team play, where it doesn't matter if you focus on one player, you're going to leave the other two wide open, and that's not what you want to do with either of these two teams. Death will score on you, Garden will score on you, Caesar will score on you. Who else do they have on that team that I can't think of right now?
Serrano,
and then I think there's one other as well that I can't think of.
There's a few. I don't know. KC has kind of literally invaded the league.
Well, now, holy cow, yeah. Next
future
year.
Reasons, but
they're farming they're building their farm teams. That's all it is. They're just prepping their farm teams. But yeah, so like you said though, I think this is probably a bit of a very close series as well. I think we're looking at, maybe one of these matches, maybe two of these matches goes into OT. One, if not, they're going to be 1-goal affairs, 2-goal affairs in terms of the difference in the two teams. I think we're going to see a lot of goals, just because it's difficult to keep both of these teams out of goal. But boy, it is going to be fast. It is going to be furious, and it's going to be fun to watch. Well, that brings us to another match that I'm really not anticipating. No offense, I'm not anticipating being wrong in my prediction for this one. But Los Cinco Doce versus Steel Army. How you feeling about that matchup? Boy, that's a harsh matchup coming in off of Libres y Locos.
See, it's a harsh matchup. I really understand that, but I love playing this team. I will be one of the only ones likely on my team. I love playing this team, and it may be because I've faced Palace in that matchup pretty much all the times. But honestly, playing against that team, it's fun to try to see what I can do with them. I feel like I actually have some room to work with whenever I play them as well. Maybe some stuff to work with. So they try to read their opponents pretty well, and they do that very well. A lot of stuff they do is good, but I just love playing this team, and I'm really hoping for one. But yeah, we all kind of know how that might go down.
I mean, you never know. You never know. You guys are coming in with some momentum. Of course, they are too. But you can maybe take away something from their matchups against Southmost, and maybe do a little scouting ahead of time. I don't know. We'll see. But I think it'll be a fun matchup if nothing else. Maybe not as fun for you guys, depending on scoreline. But Friday's right around the corner, so I guess we'll get to see. Hopefully, this airs before Friday. That's all I got to say about that. So next matchup, Roadies versus Mad Hat Massive. So Mad Hat Massive, back-to-back weeks, Cauldron and the Roadies. What an absolutely unfair draw in
Have
scheduling.
mercy on their souls.
I mean, just what do you do if you're Mad Hat Massive? And then they had They had Louisville 2 weeks before that. Before the a week before the break. So boy, they've just been put through the ringer. Kind of the middle part of this season here.
Yeah, they're gonna be having the tough matchups, and then of all things, they have Southmost in week 6, so they have 2 tough matchups to finish out.
Yeah, no, they've not been given a lot of wiggle room, that's for sure.
This is a battle for them, and I think this is gonna be a really true test of what we can see out of them. I really want to see them pull out one in this.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. They're not taking anything out of this matchup. They're really not. And it's no offense to them. That's how good the Roadies are right now. They are clicking and they're playing well. As long as Pandy can actually hit the damn goal, they'll be fine. Sometimes he has a tendency not to do that. Yeah, I mean, they're just look. They're going undefeated in the regular season. I've already basically said that prediction, so I'm sticking to it. That tells you all you need to know about this matchup. Moving on to the next and final matchup of the week, Libre Si Locos versus Dark Clouds. This one has close matchup all over it.
Yeah, honestly, Libres are such an interesting team to look at because they can literally go back and forth on any given week. And granted, I don't know what super situation is going to be by the time they reach Dark Clouds. Could be different. I don't know. But honestly, this team makes you work for your victories no matter who you are. So, just got to be about how much they can play as a team against that highly mechanical offense and backboard abusing offense of Dark Clouds.
It's gonna, we've talked about it before. It really depends who's showing up for Dark Clouds, who's actually able to play for Dark Clouds, and then on the flip side, who's able to play for Libre Si Locos. I mean, and this is one of those matchups where if Super's not there, that's not to say Libre Si Locos can't surprise us, can't find a way to manage to make it work. But on the flip side of it, if Parker's not there, if T-Bone's not there, that's a huge hit for Dark Clouds, and they've got really solid players behind them, but it's not the same caliber, it's not the same level. So I don't know. I'm anticipating this one being really ending up being very close. I really hope Super's available because I would love to see Libre Si Locos just squeeze 3 out of this one and just surprise Dark Clouds, and then put you guys in an even better situation moving into the final week where it's still tight as heck between everybody.
I don't even know what I would want at this point. It's just so chaotic that we just got to focus on us. But regardless, I want a split series for that one, no matter what.
And I think that's a very possible result to see out of that. I'm still waiting for standings to be updated, not going to lie.
True.
I think some people might be a little busy right now. Good feeling about that.
It's fine. We can go based off what we see and what we think the standings are right now.
Yeah, what we think they are. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, we've done that. Now we got top 3, bottom 3.
Top 3, bottom 3. Man, I feel like I'm going to be so boring at this because most of it's not going to change for me. But I did put a caveat in last, at least for one aspect. But for the top 3... Okay, Roadies 1, Cinco Doce 2. Third spot, I'm going to keep it the Cauldron. It's so tough. But this weekend is probably going to really determine who's going to end up taking that 3 spot away from me. Whether it be Cauldron or Cooper's out there.
Yeah, boy, that matchup, I'm just going to come back to it. That matchup, it's just such a huge matchup in terms of playoff positioning and so much more. But I want to disagree with your top 3, but I can't. That's a problem, except for the third one. I'm actually, Cauldron, I'm so sorry. I'm going to give it to Louisville Coopers right now. I think that Coopers possess enough, and again, they play this week, so... yeah, really will determine a lot. But I'm just going to give it to the Coopers. Look, if that lights a fire under Cauldron to prove me wrong, so be it. But I believe in this Coopers team. I believed in them after week 1. I'm going to continue believing in them now. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs, and I don't think there's any doubt that they're destined for playoffs at this point.
Nah, no doubt at all after this point.
So top 3 doesn't change really for either of us for the most part. I think I had Coopers in there last time as well. So let me ask this question to you then. What is your bottom three?
Last time I did say, if we didn't pull out any points against Libracy Locos, I'd put us in the bottom three. But I'm not putting myself in the bottom three.
Hey!
I'm confident in my same bottom three. Not much has changed, but it's just the reality of the standings and how I see these teams so far. Mint City, Los Verdes, and ESR. Gotta put those at my bottom three.
Yeah, I think moving themselves out of my bottom three this week has to be Southmost, no longer in the bottom three. Steel Army moves out of the bottom three. That leaves a pretty clear bottom three left. I think you hit the nail on the head. Los Verdes, Mint City Collective, in no particular order, by the way, ESR. And that, again, not any offense to any of those three teams, but the way that the rest of this league is shaping up right now, it is incredibly tight. Now, with that being said, none of these teams are completely out of it. There's still opportunities, and if they come out and surprise somebody with a 3-0 drubbing, oh man, this whole league could flip on its head real quick.
100%. I mean, I literally put a caveat that said if we didn't get points, I put myself in the bottom three and ESR would go out. The way things shaped up, it worked this way. It could be totally different next week. Watch like ESR like sweep Southmost, and all of a sudden I gotta put myself in the bottom three or something like that.
I mean, yeah, what do you do if that happens? That's a really good point. If there are some matchups this week. ESR sweeps Southmost. I mean, what if what was the other one that I was looking at? What if Los Verdes comes away with a single win against the Roadies? How do you not move them up out of the bottom three at that point? I mean, nobody's done that yet.
It just points itself out to the competition level in SGL1 that, like, you think things are going to go more uniformly, but things are just changing on a dime. And Group A not only sucks to be in, but it might suck to talk about given how teams have matched up against each other so far this season.
I got to correct myself. That was last week's matchup. This week's matchup is, Los Verdes versus Mint City Collective. I mean, it's two bottom teams. We've already put them both in our bottom three, so it is what it is. But, I think whoever comes away with that, though, definitely proves that they are either right at that, like, it's like the relegation zone, in Premier League, You could be in the bottom three and beat one of the bottom three, and you still don't get to move out of the bottom three. It's kind of the same thing here, but with the exception of ESR. I mean, that's a tough matchup for them. And like you said, if they come away with 3 against Southmost, I mean, you got to start to kind of, okay, maybe they don't belong in the bottom 3. And then, I mean, if you guys win, though, as well, coming away against Los Cinco Doce and happen to somehow magically pull out 3, I mean, come on. Are you okay over there? Do you need a moment to think?
Is there a shooting star out there somewhere? Is there some sort of rabbit's foot? I don't know.
All I'm saying is
yeah,
this league right now, starting out, it felt like they were very clear top and very clear bottom, and then there was kind of nothing really in between. Now it's shaped up. It's very clear. You have your top 2, top 4 teams, give or take. You have your bottom 2, bottom 4 teams, give or take. And then that 4 right in the middle, they are truly in the middle. Like, it's very clearly they are just right there. And 1 or 2 of those teams are definitely knocking on those top 4 spots, just ready to barge right in. It wouldn't surprise me if one of them maybe somehow, Coopers could be a perfect example. If they can take those 3 matches against Cauldron, that shakes everything up tremendously, and creates a huge open door in Group B.
100%.
So let's do our predictions real quick, because we didn't do that.
No, we didn't do predictions yet.
So first match of the week, ESR versus Southmost. How you feeling about that one? What's your prediction?
It's very lineup dependent, but if I see that same lineup, Southmost are taking 3 out of this one.
All right, I'm gonna throw Chris a bone this week. I think these are going to be a lot closer than Chris would like. If Ruben is playing on his game, this will be a Southmost 3-0 sweep. If Ruben is not playing on his game, I'm calling it a 2-1 ESR week. With that being said, call it a gut hunch. I still think that Southmost have this one 3-0. I don't know, we don't know who's available for ESR or who's not, but I'm just hoping ESR has their full team. But if not, like I said, 3-0, I think no question is Southmost at that point.
Well, if ESR have their full team, it's split series. Calling it there.
Yeah.
But
Feeling the same
what
way
I've
on
seen
that
so
one.
far, just what I gotta go with.
The second one, we already kind of know how I think. Well, you said it was going to be a split. Anyways, Mint City Collective versus Los Verdes. Still on a split. Who are you going to give the edge to?
Oh, I'm gonna go hot take and say Mid City 2-1.
Mint City 2-1, so you got Pata basically pulling out Pata stuff.
I'm rooting for Pata in this case.
I'm going to go 2-1 Los Verdes in this one. I agree they're going to be close matches. I just think from what I've seen from Husky Aardvark, what I've seen from Joel, these guys are starting to show more and more of what they're capable of, and they're finding that kind of that groove as a team. And I think that they could kind of take, from what they did against the Roadies, again, a very primed, very good Roadies team, and say, look, if we can do, if we could play that well against the Roadies, then surely we could take it to Mint City Collective. That brings us to the next matchup. That's Cauldron versus Louisville Coopers, another split series, according to you.
Yeah, I can't. If anybody 3-0s, it's going to be like 2 overtimes in there. Goal differentials of 1 or 2 at the max. I'm going to give the edge to the Cauldron 2-1.
I will hot take it and go Coopers, and I'm going to very much hot take this. 3-0 Coopers.
Oh, man. I respect it, though.
I'm going to hear it from the Cauldron this week, but I told you I have faith in the Coopers right now. I have faith in Lore. I have faith in, and there are other guys. I can't think of the names right off the top of my head, but trust me, I'm seeing their cars in my sleep right now.
Salads, beers and kins, Hughes, Monk, Serrano.
Wrong team. I was with the Coopers. You got faith in the
Coopers? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, like I said, Lore for the Coopers. I mean, he's just. I agree with you the number of times he's going to get demoed, but I think Cauldron come in a little bit with that edge, focusing on the demo too much, and I think that's where Coopers takes that 3-0.
I'm glad you at least agree with me on the demo side of things for Lore and Theo.
I think he knows full well that it is going to be an absolute demo fest. I hope that he's strategized the rest of his team around it specifically. Like, look, I know they're going to be coming after me. I'm going to be getting those passes off super quick. Be ready for it. Wherever I'm at, be ready for the pass. Well, that'll bring us to our next matchup. That is Los Cinco Doce versus Steel Army. I think I know how you're going with this one, but I'd love to hear it.
I know we've got some momentum, but I'm still going to give it 3-0 to Los Cinco Doce. I love playing against them. We just never pull out a point against them, and that's honestly just credit to them.
Hey, there's a first time for everything. You never know. Server issues can take place. We can have server latency. I'm going to give you guys one matchup out of this. So Los Cinco Doce 2-1 over Steel Army.
Thank you.
There's got to be a first time for everything. Come on now.
We thought that against Southmost.
Well, I'm going to be right one of these weeks on those predictions. Gotta happen. And to be fair, you guys had opportunities against Southmost. You just cratered at the wrong times. Don't do that against Los Cinco Doce, and you guys should be fine. All right, moving on to the next one. That's Roadies versus Mad Hat Massive. I've already said I expect the Roadies to go undefeated in the regular season, so this one's a clear cut for me, 3-0 Roadies.
I want Mad Hat to get a point out of this so bad, but I can't see it. 3-0 to the Roadies.
Unless Magic pulls out literally magic, this is definitely going to be a domination by the Roadies. I mean, they're so good. I don't think anybody's going to even question us on that one. Libre Si Locos versus Dark Clouds. You've got to see Libre Si Locos up close. You got to know what they're all about, minus a super. How you feeling in this one? I don't even know. I really don't.
I mean, the super's there. Probably not, but I'll give credit to Libres for one game. I'll give them 1. Dark Clouds 2, Libres 1.
If Super is there, 2-1 Libre Si Locos. If Super's not there, 2-1 Dark Clouds. So I think Super is that defining factor between the two results. Well, that wraps up our SGL1 match kind of coverage. I don't know what else we would call it.
That was a lot of SGL1 coming at you. But we'll be right back. Enjoy the clips. I'm coming at you with SGL2.
Everybody in the SGL Discord wants to join us by all means, because when you scrim in the public comm lobbies, even in the Diamond 1 level where I do, you notice they don't play as fast as people like Debit or Caesar when he's scrimming, like Laurencio
Oh,
or you.
that was close.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if there's Beersykins with the goal here. Oh, Beersy. Oh, Beersy. The dribble.
Beersy.
This is absolutely the F1 Formula One racer car right here. That is all Formula One race car in a Rocket League.
With the
What a
DRS
goal.
technology. DRS showing off. It works, John.
What a goal. But don't call it over yet. G not ready to give this one to Casey Cauldron. Off the kickoff. What a read by G to be right there. And a great aerial. Just tip your hat. I mean, I don't know what else you do there. Great job by G.
Definitely.
G is guard. Oh, look at the air dribble. Look at the air dribble. What a 50, but look at the air dribble there. Serrano going to bang this one hard, long. Beersykin's not going to catch up to it, but it doesn't. Or that was Caesar. Caesar not going to matter. Serrano with the goal. Oh, man, that was intense. I love it. 2 OT matches back-to-back. You can't ask for more. Louisville Coopers do take one off KC, but huge shout-out to Casey Cauldron with the victory. They go up 2-1 in this matchup. They take the third and final match. Beautiful.
Is on twitch.tv/supporters gaming league. If
No, leaving a wide open opportunity. Masta with the little chip. Or sorry, that wasn't Masta, that was Cuffs. Cuffs with the little chip there.
something about the Texas teams where they can pull off that double commit and pull it off. I think of the RGV Stampede, but I think of the other Texas team here, Lasingo does say the Austin Bold.
Did I just see him power slide 180 degrees and hit that with his butt end of his Batmobile? I think I did. Are you kidding me right now, Cuffs?
Hey, handbrake. He's at the Tokyo. Oh, I totally think so. As Devin's trying to keep that Rule 2 thing. And that's going to be all she wrote for the second. We have the third coming up. And surprise, surprise, front side of the Batmobile car you're talking about. Ball really nicely doing.
Pandy's not going to let this live at 5-4 either. What a save. Not going to score it, is he? Is he going to score it? Pandy steals it. 6-4 to the Roadies in the second match of this 2v2 series. Look, you can call Panda a dirty thief or anything else you want to call him, but that was clean. This is SGL. We don't care about individual stats. We really don't listen to me. Yet again, third and final match.
Tremendous showcase.
GG's to everybody who played tonight versus Steel Army matchups and the
flip side of the league. As we're going to move on to just some brief top moments. We only had 4 matchups this past weekend. One that's still trying to be rescheduled at the moment. So we'll see if anything happens there. But for the 4 matchups that did happen, top moments. I know I keep saying watch entire series, but please watch RGV versus El Matador. Series of the week for me. I have to put it out there.
I honestly, I'm going to admit this up front. I did not get to watch many of these matchups. I watched a little bit via VOD, and I'm still trying to get back to watching that particular matchup. You've kind of said it. It must have been really, really, really good because you have talked about it. You've talked about it. El Matador's talked about it. Even RGV have talked about it. You need to watch that series. I need to watch that series. I saw the first couple of minutes of the first match, and that was it. But man, that looked like it was just phenomenal to watch and fun.
Absolutely. So we got these 4 matchups. Let's break them down real quick, in case you missed it. So we're going to start out. Yeah. So Midnight Riders pick up 3 points against the non-Los Verdes side. Get their 3 points. Viking Army U Sector still waiting to be rescheduled at the moment. But Tigers SG versus Elmwood Elite. This series actually kind of shocked me. Going for a breakdown because I expected a 3-0 out of Tigers. Ended up being a 2-1 to Tigers. Elmwood actually brought out something that I hadn't seen in them before, and I'm really proud to see it. They actually pulled out some nice teamwork, especially from, they're gonna have to correct me on this name because I swear I'm saying it wrong every week on commentary. The Ophanis, the Faunus, whatever it is. That player came out so perfectly in that matchup. Reading backboards, doing whatever to lead Elmwood to that game 1 victory, and even, I think, be up 3-1 in the second game against Tigers. It wasn't really until Senor Roboto came in for Tigers where Tigers really found their groove and were able to come back in that series.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the matchup. I don't have anything to say about that. Sorry. That's where I'm at right now.
But no, yeah, please go back and watch the matchups if you haven't. It's very enjoyable, this league. So Tigers, a little bit shocked there. Elmwood, finally get to see something. I'm really proud of the way they pulled out things, even though I definitely could have seen them taking more than one game after that game one. It's something to build off of. And now two, matchup of the week, in my opinion, maybe in some other people's opinions as well. El Matador versus RGV Stampede. And my goodness, I know there's a lot of people are thinking El Matador, Luis. Yes, Luis is there. He soloed the crap out of game one. In fact, I think he was getting a couple flip resets on RGV's defense as well. But as the match progressed, El Matador are looking like a team now. And that's what's really fun to see watching their progression.
So real quick, I want to talk about this just real quick. I actually had a chance to run twos with Kuv earlier. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday last week. And man, it was so good to get to run twos with him because I was able to kind of, and I'm not saying that I had anything to do with the way that they played. Don't get me wrong, because I don't even know if he played. But I was talking to him about just stuff that I was seeing and stuff that I was noticing and things like that. And I could tell you the progression from watching him from the first match we played until the last match that we played together, just a completely different player. Going in with much more confidence, just going in knowing that I have to challenge even if I don't get to the ball. At least if I'm challenging, I'm causing disruption. I'm causing frustration on the other team. And I want to say that we ended up going like 6-5 on the, or 5-6 on the night, which again for twos when he doesn't play very much twos and I don't really play much twos in comp, that's pretty solid.
Yeah,
So yeah, I just wanted to shout that out because I'm telling you these El Matador guys, they're grinding. They're in scrims all the time. They're happy to play with whoever's available, and we know how good Luis is. But watching these other players come up and start to kind of match his play level, or not, maybe not match it, but elevate themselves closer to his play level. Honestly, it scares me as the Surge because we play them in the last week of the season. I would have much rather faced them early when they didn't have anything figured out because I feel like we would have stood a better chance.
Very true. I would probably feel the same way if I was in your situation. But El Matador managed to break away from RGV, kind of making them, kind of Luis distracting them from their prime game of bumps and demos. They're playing a lot of defense on the goal line as much as they could. And granted, in that third game, RGV actually pulled out what they did best. The classic Eddie move, grabbing opponent's boost, no defensive rotation. El Matador's defense was getting pummeled in game 3. And that's when you actually saw the real RGV come out in this matchup and pull out something at least for themselves. But credit to both teams putting on quite a series. Next matchup in Pride 812 versus NYC 12. Now, credit to Pride 812. They played yet another 2v3, and they nearly won a game against NYC 12. They pulled out a new person named Fallen. I believe that's what their name was.
Yeah, Fallen. Because I watched a little bit of that one while we were waiting for our matchup to start.
This player, when rotating with Joshi, they just knew what to do, and NYC 12 were just not hitting the shots. And I believe it was a 1-goal game at the end of it all. So all credit to them. They did not gain a point. And eventually things got out of hand as NYC 12 finally found their groove. Firepulsa was double tapping everything. Even if it didn't go in, he was managing to abuse the backboard. And I think things in the third game just got out of hand. I think to the point where NYC 12 won like 8-1 on Pride 812. So unfortunately they got a little bit found out, but honestly that first game, that series, that was something else.
I only got to see like the first, I got to see the very tail end of that series. So I saw the 8-1 drubbing, and I didn't get to see the first match. So I thought this was a complete blowout by NYC 12. Had no idea it was close in the first match. All credit to Pride 812. I mean, that's incredible. NYC 12 are one of the best teams, clearly in SGL2 right now. And so to take them kind of to the brink, not necessarily win, but right there, 1-0. I mean, that's definitely something to be proud of, and hopefully that leads into this week's matchup that they have coming up. Some momentum.
Also, keep watching out for Pandering. That dude keeps improving every week. He had a really nice downward angle shot, I believe, in game 3 as well. So Watch out for his shooting now. And for the last matchup, you have to let you take this one a little more. The Surge versus Black Army.
Let's talk about this matchup. Man, we have been saying that we were so upset about not getting to play in the first 2 weeks of the season because we were so ready to play in the first 2 weeks of the season. And that was definitely true. And then we hit the buzzsaw known as U-Sector in week 3. Everybody hits the buzzsaw of U-Sector right now, it feels like. But then we finally, last week, we had our first real matchup, I feel like, in SGL2 against a true SGL2 team in Black Army. All credit to Black Army. Knight was playing really, really well. They were playing really, really well. But I just felt like we were just that step above. And I've wanted to show what I'm capable of doing because you guys have seen it in the scrims, and that's not, yay, I'm good. Yay, I'm doing well. But, from the way that I was when I first started playing back with SGLCS, and to where I am now, completely different player. And just the amount of confidence I had going into this matchup was completely different. And then on top of that, you add in a guy who absolutely is playing really, really well in Bandana. That backflip goal you should have heard our comms. Absolutely went livid because I was both myself and I think it was Kev. Myself and Kev, we were sitting there. We just went, "No, you did not just pull that off." And he's like, casually, like, "I mean, I guess." Didn't know that was gonna happen. And then I know there was a lot of question, and I just want to answer this because I know there was a lot of question. Did I actually intend to pass to Bandana on the goal line at the goal post and then have him turn around and score that immediately with just a very quick little flick in the goal? The answer to that is absolutely 100% yes. I know people are going to question it, but I just got the fastest read. I knew right where he was going to be from an earlier kind of rotation we were doing in play, and I just said, I'm sending it at the corner of goal. I hope you're there. And sure enough, he was. Like, I didn't know for sure he was there. Had a good feeling. And I'm like, I just got to send it there because I know I'm not going to score it. So I did, and sure enough, he hit it, and we were just all like, oh, what just happened? Like, we just went nuts. It was fantastic. But all credit to Black Army. Like I said, Knight played fantastic. And we're a pretty good team, but Black Army showed that they are also a very good team when they can have 3 players available. And they had not only 3, but they had a sub that they were able to bring in. And I felt like they played, just as good across all 3 matches, no matter who was playing in that. And that just shows that they now have more depth than they've had. And if they can maintain having 3 players available every week going into next season, I think they're going to be a strong force to be reckoned with in SGL2.
I absolutely agree. I think this is one series where I kind of expected one thing to happen, and I think I got the best of everything happening. I got an actual first look at the Surge after having 2 wins due to forfeit, and then U-Sector, finally seeing them against this Black Army side that had 4 available with them, and actually showing some nice depth to them. I think they just need to play with each other a little more, kind of develop that chemistry, because there were some double commits and triple commits where you were able to capitalize on them. But that series had a little bit of everything for it. And honestly, that series was well worth it, especially for you guys. I mean, you got the win, but it was nice to see that all play out. So all credit to that series there. That about does it down for the breakdown of the past week's matchups. Preview next week's?
Go for it.
All right, let's do a quick preview. U-Sector, I'm sorry, you play Los Verdes too. Your matchup, done.
Well,
you got it.
They might be playing Viking Army. That's still on the table. We're still not certain about that. Still working out details.
Still working on that? That's true.
Might be
That's
playing
true.
that matchup from the prior week. So, there may still be 6 matches this week. 6 matchups. So don't write off Saturday quite yet.
But at least in that time slot of what's supposed to be there, you got it. You're good.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, honestly, it doesn't matter if it's Viking Army or not, if they play or not. U-Sector are taking all 3. I'm going full prediction.
Early
mode already.
prediction.
I'm going
You've
full
been
prediction
gifted
anyways.
already.
I told you. I mean, they're the roadies right now of SGL2.
It's an interesting take about it. But hey, we move on. Pride 812, RGV Stampede.
Man.
Oh my.
Yeah, I mean, I
Pray for Pride 812 and their back defense.
Yeah, if they this is one of those where if they hang around goal and they don't push out quickly, they're gonna get absolutely run over and run through. RGV are a team that you simply can't afford to be stagnant against and waiting. If you're waiting, you're gonna get demolished, demoed if it were. That's just, I mean, it's an easy take, but it's a true take. I think with this matchup in particular, especially.
Surge versus Midnight Riders. Well, sorry, Riders. Surge are coming off of a high after that one. It's gonna be hard to stop that momentum rolling against you.
I'm gonna be honest. I am looking forward to this matchup because I don't care who's on the pitch for Midnight Riders. We're taking all three.
Such huge confidence, but I respect the hell out of it.
Although I will say, Curdy does scare me a little bit. When he's on, different ball.
I will give you that.
Different ball.
El Matador versus Elmwood. I did see a lot of good out of Elmwood, but they're gonna have to face a completely different play style in El Matador, where they have a very mechanical player to go up against, and then a supporting cast ready to shoot the ball whenever possible. So I got to see how they adapt to it before I truly make a prediction. But in the case where I have to make one, I mean, a little bit later on, I think El Matador might be a little too much for Elmwood.
I'm gonna agree with you on that point, but I think that there's something else that we're seeing out of El Matador, and I think last week you just saw a lot of those two other players for the team just pushing up and just being, always in that position, so Luis can pass out. But I think what you're starting to see as well is Luis being more trusting of the rest of his team to make that pass instead of trying to take it all himself 1v1. I mean, it's really 1v3 at that point. So, it makes a huge difference. And I think Luis has seen that through scrims, and he's realized that, okay, if I just pass occasionally, it takes some of that pressure off myself. So, with that said, though, yeah, I mean, look, Elmwood have shown that they are capable. But on a consistent basis, they're going to have to catch them. And I don't know if they're going to catch El Matador this week or not. I just don't see it.
Yeah, they definitely caught Tigers, but El Matador's got VODs too. They can go back and look and see what they've done. So, Elmwood, you got to pull out a shocker against them. Moving on to Viking Army versus Black Army. Battle of the Armies.
Thinking the same thing. Battle of the Armies. It's the military cup.
Man, Viking Army have not been around consistently enough for me to say. So that's what makes this matchup really interesting. And I hope we end up seeing 3 out of Viking Army for that one. It kind of depends on the 3 that I see. But honestly, I still see a contested series out of this one, seeing how Black Army have played out as of late.
Yeah, getting a first-hand look at Black Army last week, they are definitely better than I think that I've given them credit for previous to this. And I think that they showed that in those matches. And I think if they have the full team again this week with that little bit of extra time to play together, I think they can make a world of difference for them. And Viking Army, like you said, we haven't seen a lot of them this season. They've had to forfeit a couple of matches. They had the bye, obviously, as well. So there's just not been a lot of Viking Army action. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have one player who's already said flat out he's not available this week. So I don't know. We're going to see. But I think this probably tilts towards the Black Army's favor in the Military Bowl.
You're right on that side. And this is a nice lasting matchup to preview. Tigers SG versus NYC 12. I don't even know who I tip my cap to, because honestly, I've seen what Tigers SG have done, and I've seen what NYC 12 have done. I think I know who I give the edge to, but I don't know if I go a sweep or a contest, because I can see either team. I can see either team doing anything in this matchup.
Yeah, it's a tough one to look at and try to call, because Tigers have definitely elevated their game this season, and NYC 12 are playing as well as they are, but they've also shown cracks and chinks in their armor. They've shown cracks in the foundation. I think that you hinted at it. The first match against Elmwood, not Elmwood. Against Pride 812. Wait, what? Pride 812. You said that was only a 101 win for NYC 12, right?
2-1, I believe.
2-1. There was a one goal difference. So if they can do that, if Pride 812 can do that against NYC 12, why can't Tigers come in and steal a match or even 2 matches from NYC 12? Look, NYC 12 have places that you can counter, places that you can exploit, things you can exploit. It's up to Tigers to take advantage of those. It's up to Tigers to make sure they know what those are and go in prepared to take advantage of. And I guess we'll see on Saturday. Thankfully our matchup is a little earlier in the day, so I can tune into some of those matchups that happen after and do a little scouting because I've got to scout El Matador for the week after. But this is one I definitely am definitely excited to watch. It's definitely going to be, I think, one of the better matchups of the season, let alone the this week.
For sure. All right.
Top 3, bottom 3?
Done a quick preview. Now it's time for top 3, bottom 3. Let's take a gander. SGL2.
Man.
The league that is literally has come up no short of any surprises to come up in this league. Top 3. My number 1 is going to be the same as yours in U Sector. This team is way too solid right now. They were already solid before, and then they added Maz, so it made it even worse.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm gonna say this, and there's gonna be some SGL1 teams that are gonna be like, whatever. They, to me, right now, they are good enough to be in the bottom, 4 or 5 teams in SGL1.
I wouldn't disagree with you. In fact, I would, if we had to play U Sector in SGL2, that would be a contested series. No doubt about it. Number 2. NYC 12, gotta give it to them. I know they had a couple cracks in their play this past weekend, but they still pulled out the results. If they dropped the game to a 2v3, that would have really hurt their chances. But they were able to pull out 3 and able to get a point separation on Tigers this time around. So that's what makes this matchup even more important against them this coming weekend.
I was going to say, I'm just going to chime in. We'll do the 3 together because I have a feeling they're not going to be too far apart. My second is also NYC 12. I've been saying it all along. These guys are good. They're very, very good. If they can play at the level that I know they're capable of when Pulsa is on fire. Pulsa, get it? When Pulsa is on fire, I mean, he is just very hard to contain. He is, he's not, oh God, this is going to sound terrible. He's not the Maz of that team. Maz, again, totally different level. But he is good enough to be that guy that elevates NYC 12 to the next level.
True. I absolutely agree with you. And this third spot is actually really tough for me to pick because it's between, or at least the last current standings that we have, it's between the 2 second places of these.
Mm-hmm. I know who I'm going to pick, and it's probably going to surprise you, I'll be honest.
Man, this is so tough, but top 3, I know technically they have more points, but I'm going to give it to the Surge.
Not what I was expecting.
I was going to give it to you guys, but honestly, Tigers SG are really not that far behind from you, so you got to show up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I told you you'd probably be surprised by this. I think I give my 3rd to Tigers right now. They're playing very well. Obviously not best in SGL2 but they're definitely deserving of the top 3, if not, like you said, I almost would say it's like a 3A, 3B at this point.
Yeah,
we're
pretty
both
much
right there, which makes it enjoyable because it means that these final 2 weeks of the season really do matter. I feel like, they get a little bit of the difficult draw this week, and then we get the difficult draw the week after in the final week of the season. So I think that that's kind of fair in terms of how that shook out. But other than that, I mean, it's a toss-up, and I just have to give it to Tigers right now because I feel like they've probably played more matches together. Even though some people will question how many matches have you guys actually played together, the answer is we really don't play together. We haven't played together on the Surge very much at all. It's just we all kind of have played enough previous to this that we do have some idea where everybody is, and I've played some with Kev, but not nearly enough, man. And Tigers just have, and you see it in how they play. So I give it to Tigers. I give the tip of the hat to the Tigers right now.
That's totally fair. I can see how either team could fit into that role, and We picked both teams. But yeah, a little bit of a boring top three. Bottom three, I know we've already counted out Fairies 2 at this point because they don't exist.
They don't even count, really, it feels like. Yeah.
But man, things got kind of shaken up this past week. I mean, Riders got the free 3 against Fairies 2, so I mean, can't really take much into consideration there. Black Army, decent matchup against you guys, but still ended up losing all 3. Pride 812, another 2v3, but managed to somehow hold off NYC 12 for like a lot of the time. Even though they lost all 3, it was still in a 2v3 and made one close. Elmwood pulling out another victory when I thought they weren't going to get one this past weekend. Man, this is tough.
It feels like 5 through the rest of the league in SGL2 is just all like right together with the exception of like the bottom 2.
It's so tough. It really is so tough.
Really tight. Really, really tight. But that's also what makes SGL2 a lot of fun is that, you know, they are harder to predict week over week with the exception of the top, 3 or 4 teams.
And I can't even throw too much like Viking Army into that conversation, even though I probably could. I think I know what I've seen them before, and I think I know what they're capable of, enough to keep them away from this, but I'm going to go with my bottom 3 in no order right now. Of Pride 812, Midnight Riders, and sorry, Black Army. Elmwood are going to jump up. Escape bottom 3.
I'm in the same boat though. I don't even know where to go with this. Outside of and I don't even know if I could put Pride 812 there at this point because
it's so tough.
They're playing with 2 players. I mean, if they could get that third player to show up, I mean, that team could be very difficult to take out. We've seen RGV show cracks in their foundation and be kind of, wouldn't say weak, but definitely opportunities for other teams to exploit. Midnight Riders, I don't think there's a question. It's no offense to Midnight Riders. Bottom 2, definitely. El Matador at times in the early part of the season, I would have had them in the bottom 3, but now, no chance at all. Elmwood, like you said, they took one off. Who'd they play last week? They took one off.
Tigers.
Tigers, thank you, Tigers. Took one off Tigers, and you couldn't see that coming. So, another team that would have been in my bottom 3, Black Army, like you said. I mean, they played really well against us, and we took all 3 points, but they still played really well. Viking Army, I feel like they have to be in the bottom 3 at this point, but only because they haven't had all 3 players, consistently, and they haven't been able to play consistently. So I would put them in my bottom 3. So with that, and Tigers and NYC 12, neither of those teams are. Neither is U Sector, no doubter, and Surge, same thing, not happening. But I think with my bottom 3, I think looking at it, I have to go Viking Army, and again, no particular order. Viking Army, RGV Stampede, and Midnight Riders.
RGV Stampede.
Yeah.
It's enough for Pride and Elmwood to break out of it and put RGV down there?
Yeah, I do feel it is. And I think if Pride 812 have their third this weekend against RGV Stampede and they play the way that I know they can play, it'll be a proving point for why RGV are in my bottom 3.
Dang, that's one I actually didn't expect coming out of it. I could see Viking Army just because we really haven't seen much of them, even though we've seen what they're capable of. I've seen the roster of Fugum, Flavor Purple, and Steezy McGee. They got 3rd in the playoff bracket last season.
Yep.
I know what they're capable of, but just haven't seen them.
Haven't seen it.
I don't doubt you putting them in there. I understand that decision. Man, RGV Stampede, better get them riled up for.
To be fair,
weeks.
RGV Stampede wouldn't be in my bottom 3 if Los Verdes 2 were playing. You know what I'm saying? Like if Los Verdes 2 were the bottom 3, then they wouldn't have made my bottom 3. But because there's that, it's only 11 teams instead of 12 teams, they're in the bottom 3. So they're my bottom 4. But still, it's the way it happened. It's where we're at.
Dang, so. A little bold coming out from you over there, but it's what we like to see. RGV, take this and make Sean eat his words.
I am down for it. Make me eat my words, please. Definitely.
That wraps up for top 3, bottom 3, and now for the last portion of SGL2. Let's do some predictions for next week.
Yay! Predictions. All right.
So we already previewed them a little bit, but you know, U-Sector Viking Army could happen. Don't know yet, but U-Sector already took 3 points.
Let's just predict
Verdes
that
2.
one instead of predicting U-Sector Los Verdes 2, because I mean that's a given.
Yeah,
that's
it's
guaranteed.
given.
So, let's say U-Sector Viking Army happens. Who you taking in that one? Like I don't know.
I mean, I don't see the Viking Army 3 that I've listed before out there, so because of that, I'm gonna give 3-0 to U-Sector. Team is just too solid.
Yeah, I already mentioned that I've seen chatter that Viking Army may be missing one of their players already, and we're not even to the point of them playing. So if that is the case, and they do happen to play this match somehow still, definite no doubter to U-Sector.
Pride 812 RGV Stampede, a team you have in the bottom 3 versus a team that I have in the bottom 3. How do you feel about that one? I gotta ask you first.
I'm gonna give 2-1 to Pride 812 if they have all three players. 2-1 to Pride 812. If they only have 2 players again and they're playing 2v3, even still, I think 2v3 does actually work in their favor to some extent, because my expectation is RGV are gonna try to push heavy, and as long as they can get the clears out heavy back towards the RGV goal, they're gonna get counterattack opportunities, and Pride 812 are good enough to boom that into that goal.
Fair. I see you, but I know RGV has shown cracks. I'm not going to doubt them, though. I'm going to go 3-0.
I want them to prove me
RGV.
wrong. I want them to prove me wrong.
That's what I'm predicting, that they're going to prove you wrong immediately.
Yep.
Surge Midnight Riders. Got to admit, going to go 3-0 to you guys. After that win, your guys are just going to go on a roll.
I mean, again, no disrespect meant to Midnight Riders, any player on that team, especially Curdy. But like you said, I mean, we proved last week that we are good, and we know we have another level we can hit even beyond that. And boy, I want to get rolling heading into playoffs, because that's where we really, rubber meets the road. That's it right there. So yeah, 3-0 Surge. We're gonna play really well.
All right. El Matador versus Elmwood. Man, I expect El Matador to take 3. I really do. But I'm gonna go 2-1 El Matador. I'm gonna say Elmwood pull one out. They're gonna shock El Matador with a game.
I'm going to go 3-0 El Matador, even though my gut says 2-1 El Matador, because if they are playing and they have the 2 supporting cast members specifically for Luis, they can play that well. And I think Luis matching up against Elmwood, I think that he matches up very well against them, and he can create opportunities for his supporting cast. So yeah, 3-0 El Matador. I know they're going to be fired up when they get to hear that one, but yeah, 3-0 El Matador over Elmwood. Prove me wrong, Elmwood.
Hoping they get at least one out of this one.
Yeah.
Moving on. Viking Army, Black Army. We have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea who's going to show up for Viking Army.
Exactly.
It's going to be nearly impossible to predict. But if what my gut is telling me true, Black Army take a 2-1.
I'm going to go 3-0 Black Army in this one. What I saw last week, they're capable of it, especially if Viking Army are missing 1 or 2 players. Black Army 3-0.
Gotcha. Kind of a reverse situation. Usually see Black Army with 2 instead of
Yep.
the other side.
Yeah,
It could be
exactly.
Black Army
Right.
with 3.
But that's the thing, too, and I just want to call this out, but it's amazing how just adding 1 or 2 players can make such a huge difference for a team.
100%. It adds an extra rotation. It gives you time to get some boost, too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 3v2s, it doesn't matter how good you are, 3v2s are very difficult, especially as a 2-man team.
And last, but definitely not least, seeing this matchup, because this is battle of the top 2 teams in Group D. Tigers SG versus NYC 12. We already kind of laid it out a little bit before. Me a little bit more. But I'm going to give a 2-1 edge to NYC 12 here. I think Tigers SG will pull a game out through Senor Robato's abuse of the backboard, along with the teammates. especially if I see Julian and either Miles Wimberly or Nervous Bicycle out there with those two. But NYC 12, if I see Epic Awesome or Mike Knight compared with Pandering and Fire Pulsa, I'm expecting at least 2 from NYC 12 in that series.
This is my upset. Well, not my upset of the week, because I think there's other matches that people would argue are upsets too. Pride 812 over RGV Stampede, for that matter. But I'm actually picking Tigers to take this one 2-1, maybe even 3-0. I don't want to say 3-0. I don't feel 3-0 necessarily, but I definitely feel 2-1 is within their wheelhouse. We've not seen NYC 12 really play competition that's at their level, and I feel like Tigers are at their level. This is the chance for NYC 12 to really prove themselves. Pride 812, they were playing 3v2 and they almost lost. They played Elmwood the week before that, and Elmwood has shown occasionally to be good and occasionally not to be good. RGV Stampede the week before that, again, a team that's been up and down. They've not been a solid team. And then the week before that was El Matador, and that was the first time we'd ever seen El Matador, and it was not the best we've seen of El Matador. So going into this week, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm going, this is not this is not going to be easy for NYC 12, and I think further to the point, because they've not had that level of competition against them yet, I think they may come into this a little bit overconfident. Maybe not. I don't know. Hopefully Pandering is Pandering and Mike and all them and Weiss are setting them straight, but I think maybe they come in with a little bit of an arrogant boost, and I think Tigers find a way to take a couple off of them. That's going to set up a huge last week of the season too.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And I'm looking forward to all of it, especially so. Mix up those groups. Bring me some chaos. I just want to see it. Be the Group A of SGL1.
If Tigers take 2 off NYC 12, here's what's crazy. That actually sets up where the second place in the entire league could come down to Tigers versus Surge. Second place in the league. It could also come down to a 3-way between Tigers, New York, NYC 12, and the Surge. I mean,
my gosh.
Craziness is absolutely abundant right now in SGL2. And I love it. Right now, the parity in this league is absurd, with the exception of USECA. But we will see, I suppose.
We will definitely see. That wraps up for SGL2 talk. Am I outroing here?
Yes, you're outroing here.
Like the entire thing?
Yeah, we're done. This is the final segment.
I know, we just didn't review that. Oh well.
Whatever. Hey guys, that's right. We record this, and even though it is recorded, we still don't stop recording. We just keep going.
We got this. But yeah, that wraps up for SGL2. Thank you all for viewing the breakdown. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Supporters Gaming League YouTube channel to keep up with all the new episodes of the breakdown.
I'm pointing at the SGL Twitch channel. It's down there in your overlay.
Be sure to catch live SGL action on twitch.tv/Supporters Gaming League on Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for League 1, and on Saturdays starting at usually 1 p.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Central for all things SGL League 2. And follow SGL on Twitter at SupportersGL and on Instagram at Supporters Gaming League. Also, we have a website, sgleague.online, for all player news and stats and all the info that you could ever want as well. And that does it for us, and we'll see you all in the next episode. To the corner, but they're still not out of it yet.
Yeah, this pressure from El Matador right now is almost devastating to Elmwood. But as I say that, not down bad. Gets this one past 2, and that will go in the net. What a play. Solo effort from Not Down Bad. 100% shot to goal ratio. That one, he'll get it past all 3 defenders. Luis just caught in net. Nothing he could do. That was a great solo effort there. Not down bad. This game's tied.
Off an incredible solo effort. We are back level as Mango Mafia is looking to at least get a shot on target. Nothing going at the moment. Luis looking for a solo play. Gets a shot on target, but not down bad with a great save across the goal line.
Not Done Bad is the player that Elmwood needed to bring into this game to make things close, especially with how hot El Matador has been. on the sticks exactly, but Bonnie, good save. Luis kind of popping this one back into their corner. 20 seconds left. Let's see if El Matador can regain their lead late in this game. Possibly a 0-second goal before overtime. Not that bad. Kind of awkward on the backboard. Let's see if Luis can pop this one up mid. Kind of bumped both defenders. That one will make its way in the net. 8 seconds left. Unfortunate bump. Not that bad. Making this kind of awkward on his other two teammates. But Ofani and Mango Mafia colliding in net, and Luis just kind of taking the open net this game. Man, as I said that, 8 seconds left. El Matador takes the lead.
Dang. Could be a real heartbreaker here for Elmwood. Doing so good this game just to hold on to anything they got, trying to establish some pressure, but El Matador are making it difficult at the moment. 0 seconds left. This ball is going to drop, and El Matador take game 2.
That is not the way you want to lose a game, especially with the effort that Elmwood put into this game. Not down bad, 600 points. Over this ball, just getting an awkward touch, but let's see if the Riders can regain here. As Sean, good 50, gets it past Curdy. Bandana, good shot on net. Mirks, good save, just gets outside of the post in time. As Sean, good shot, saved by Curdy. Bandana, another shot, as that one will go in. And the Surge will get their 2-goal lead back.
Critical goal back here for the Surge. Getting some good pressure. A lot of Riders trying to commit and just get the ball out, not able to. After the position that Mirks was left in after trying for that in OT, Scaman praying for free Rocket League. Sean saying no way to that one as the Surge take game 3 and nothing going for them. A little bit of a scare, but the Surge end up pulling out the sweep.
Army, nothing they can really do, but Fugum trying to get something back for Viking Armies. What an angle, just goes off the crossbar. My, that goodness, that was close. Jetic will relieve pressure momentarily for Black Army's defense, but see if they can get another one for the Brazil. And that, what a 50 on Bob McLovin. Man, that was an absolute stuffing. Seeing that ball coming midfield, just I don't even think he saw Bob McLovin there, and just gets the 50. My goodness.
Yeah, just what?
Most likely not. His time will expire. Jetic keeping that one up, but that will be it. Black Army completing the sweep with a 7-2 win. Game 3.
A decent pop by Senor Roboto, but nothing going past Tlaquache right now. Good dish into the middle. That's basically just to get the ball away right now. Make NYC 12 think about what they're doing. That's a great pass to Pandering, but not able to get any contact on that one. Still on the attack though. They have an opportunity. Clear out by Tlaquache. Chuko forced to deal with it. Doesn't do well, and Tlaquache is pretty much in a 1v1 with Chuko. The Tigers SG regain are still on the attack.
10 seconds left. Let's see if NYC 12 can get one last push, but Senor Roboto an open net again. 4 shots on goal for him, and that will be the dagger. Tigers SG saving that 1 seed, overtaking NYC 12, and my goodness, Tigers SG with an exclamation point for this game. Absolutely massive turnout for them. Series sweep. NYC 12 one last effort to get one last goal. Chuko, good shot on net, but saved Julian, and that will be it.
Maybe one more opportunity. Good clear out by Senor Roboto. It's like Fire Pulse to try to keep it up. Nothing going, and probably the biggest question we see from Tigers is how they can keep it up against the top teams, and they definitely